Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Valhelsia 3. So since last episode, it hasn't been a lot of time because, of course, we wrapped up last episode having went a bit over, and we're picking back up. I wasn't able to show you everything that had been done after the last cut. You know, I just showed you this upper section. But once again, this hasn't changed. Like I said, we're just picking right back up where we left off. But we're bringing down our power from our shafts, and if we head down, you can see a lot of unfinished stuff through here. That's fine. But down here, this is where our power's coming down at. I did shift our shafts and everything up by one just so I could travel underneath it. And then I did the floor. I dropped the slabs basically for the floor here, and then just reshaped it. A lot of steel mesh fences, a lot of engineer's decor. We're going to be getting into a little bit of that mod today. Used a lot of iron between, during the last episode. But you can see right here, let me put on my engineer's goggles. You can see right here that we have our stress units. You can see we have remaining capacity showing now because we do have a few things plugged up to this, which we're going to get into. And then we have over here our rotation speed at 8 RPM, which is where it was last episode. And this is just coming down to a vertical gearbox. That's an inset light from Engineer's Decor, which we're going to talk about. Let's actually just go ahead and pull up that mod. There's a lot of really nifty stuff within this mod. Signs, I would love to be able to make these, but I do need to get treated wood before I can make these. But I was able to make, like the steel mesh fences. Basically just taking a lot of iron. But there is some upgrades up here for like general purpose stuff like crafting tables and things that we're going to be talking about in just a moment. But if we head down, I moved our waystone down here just so everything's a little bit more clean. And you can see that our axles, they bring this back through to here. And then right here, it actually splits and goes downwards. And that way we can bring our axles through here and kind of have them visible behind this steel mesh fence. And then you can see I brought axles out, or shafts. I keep saying axles, but shafts over to this side and then running that through, and the same is true on the other side here. I've brought that down and over. It's not currently running anywhere on this side, but this side's very unfinished at the moment. And over here you can see more inset lights. These you can just kind of tab through a few different variations here, so I've just kind of tabbed through on those. Chests here with a bunch of junk that I got from clearing a lot of this space out. Back in here, my bed just hanging out right here. But you can see I've brought the axles, or the shafts through. And then I've done just our simple little cog system for speeding this up. This side here is running a bit faster. I did connect this with a straight, thick steel pole just for kind of decoration. Just to make it look like it's not just floating here, like it's maybe connected across. And then back in here, this is a steel mesh fence gate, and if you double stack these, it becomes this too tall door here. And then back in here, I decided just to make this like a little safety net that kind of runs around this space where the cogs are. And then right here we have a valve handle. This can be held to create, you can see 128 stress units, but I just got it for decoration. It doesn't actually plug up to anything, just so maybe you can like shut it off or speed up the shafts or something like that. And then this comes through, and then this over here is a mess. We're going to be messing with this. I just kind of set this up temporarily. But this was basically set up, well, over here, this is going to be kind of our workshop for manual crafting, I think, because I decided that I did want just kind of a manual workshop. And then, we would automate things as well, but have a place where we can just use kind of our manual stuff. So we've got our mechanical press set up here. And then over here we've got our millstone set up with a hopper that feeds over. And you'll notice lime sand. This I have been making. You just take sand and throw it into the mill. And I actually went over, I've got a few stacks left of sand, but I've made all of this out of weathered limestone bricks, which is a little bit of a process. But with this system, it's a whole lot easier because I can throw sand in there. It makes lime sand. Then that lime sand, we can do it with bulk blasting to get limestone, and then that limestone we can then do it with bulk washing to get weathered limestone. So we put the sand in there and we get the lime sand, And then if we take that lime sand and we throw it in, this is bulk blasting. We talked about the encased fans with the water, which we can have, of course, setting right there. But the bulk blasting, of course, you're dealing with lava. And the same is true if you're dealing with fire. You need the air to kind of blow through that. And so what we do is we would throw down our lime sand here. And this stuff is, after a moment, you can see that hot air, that reddish air that's coming through that lava. It's basically heating this up, and it's going to turn it into limestone. So there we go. It just finished up, and we made some more limestone. And then, of course, this we would just throw into the water, and then it comes through. I've got filters set up. Like we talked about before, lime sand is set to deny, so it can't come through this. And then over here, we have wheat flour and limestone set to deny. So it can only take the finished products of those, in this case the weathered limestone. And then this comes through over to our mechanical mixer, which is set up, and you could see the axles kind of running back in there, the cog, and then the axles back in there. If we open this up a little bit, you can see there's a vertical gearbox, and we'll put some more stuff down through here, of course. And so we can take our chest and we can throw stuff in there, and then stuff goes into here and gets mixed up. Right now it's manual to pull things out, but that's fine. We'll be sprucing that up a little bit. And then over here, I made some steel tables and McCall's furniture chairs, so just kind of have a little table here to hang out in. And then over here, a little furnace area. And then if we come back through to this area, this is something I set up to just kind of show you an example of a couple things. First up, if you look right here, basically what this is one big windmill bearing that runs through here, and of course it's glued all the way down. Each of these have 12 windmill segments. Let me open this up a little bit here. 12 cell frames, and it's 11 long. It's a little over 100. I think it's a little over 100 cell pieces. That actually generate kinetic power. It's a little over 100 of them. I want to say. I checked on the wiki, but it's been a little bit. To get maximum power. This is a maximum power windmill. Okay, but of course, like I said, it doesn't take wind at all to run this. So if I was to come over here and I right click the windmill bearing, you can see that it starts to run. And this is maximum speed. So I've just kind of set this up. It's kind of like a little engine that's back here. And if we take a look on top, you can see I've got dark shingle roof chimneys set up on the top, and that is to create kind of smoke coming up out of this. Of course, this area is very unfinished. I do wish that there was a metal texture cell frame. We can, of course, dye these like a gray, but we're still going to have that wooden texture on one side. So there's not really anything I can do about that. Kind of unfortunate. I would love like an iron texture to these, but not something that I can create. We could use just gray wool or something like that, but these look a little bit better as far as the way that they're shaped than just sticking a solid block onto there. But they do have that wood covering, which isn't really ideal, but that's okay. And then you can see some catwalk stairs from Engineers Decor. A lot of Engineers Decor kind of ran through here. A lot of iron, like I said, went into this. Now, if we pop over and we grab ourselves just a shaft, and we plug this up, this one is running at 8,192 stress units. That's a maximum strength windmill. There is actually an achievement for turning this thing on, but I did turn it on just to see, to make sure everything ran and looked good. So I've already got the achievement now, but there is an achievement whenever you build a maximum speed one. But if we plug this up, this should all be plugged up correctly. You can see that this shaft is turning in the same direction as that one. They are different speeds, because this one over there, I think it's 8 RPM, and I think this is 16 RPM or something like that. If we were to plug this up, you're going to see that all of our shafts now speed up to kind of match the speed over here plus the speed over here. If we take a look at our overall speed at this point, you can see that our rotation speed has now jumped up to 16 RPM, and our stress capacity, we now have 16,384 stress units. So as you can see, you can just kind of plug things up. Just make sure that your shafts are turning in the right direction. Aside from that, it doesn't matter. They can be different speeds. They can be, however much stress units and stuff. I think eventually this will cap out, so you don't want to go above that. Maximum speed. There's a limit to how fast it can move. and there's eventually, I guess, a limit to how many stress units you can have, though I've never actually reached that point. I don't know what happens. We'll find out maybe, possibly. But it's a lot of stress units that you can run through kind of a single shaft line. And you can see that all of this has now sped up as well. So, for example, if we were to let me grab this. This is actually the last of my iron. I've got to get more iron for the town over there. But you can see it runs at a pretty decent speed without being crazy fast, I think. So that's basically what I did during the last cut of the last episode that I wasn't able to show you guys. Basically just doing that and trying to get the base a little bit set up. This area is basically just going to be kind of a workshop area and sort of like maybe have a room or something in here. But then this power is going to get sent up and be used elsewhere as well. And we'll probably do a little bit of automation in here, but not much. So let's head out and I'll show you what this looks like at a distance. It's far from done. But you can see right here, I've started kind of shaping this up. It'll be a whole lot easier once we have some form of flight. At the moment I was using a bit of scaffolds. But you can see that the water eventually is going to be coming down from something. Right now it's just kind of floating, and the water kind of splits off, in a couple different directions here, and kind of runs down through there, and then it falls down right here. And I want to... one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring some columns down. You can see where I did place the limestone downwards, but I haven't actually ran the columns yet. And then we'll have some stuff down here as well. But for right now, pretty unfinished overall, but... Let me get back up there real quick. But just kind of starting to get the first area of this base built out. Of course, it's going to be kind of a multi-building area is my plan, not all within like this area. But anyways, what we're going to be doing today, first and foremost, I think the first thing I'd like to do is jump into a little bit of engineer's decor, just so that we can cover a few things on camera, because there is some really nice things in here. First up, the metal crafting table. If we just take our crafting tables and we apply some iron to this is going to give us upgraded crafting tables. And these, for one, they'll hold their inventory, and we'll also be able to kind of toggle through recipes. So, for example, let's see, what does it take to make the next thing I was wanting to make is this right here. And so, as an example, let's go ahead and break these down, because we're going to be replacing these furnaces. These do work with automation and stuff. I just want manual furnaces at the moment. So we're going to be setting these up for kind of more manual stuff. But if I was to craft, a couple chests here, and we close this out and we tab through, you can see a chest gets highlighted there, and we can just click and then make one of those. So it allows us to kind of store some internal recipes. I'm not actually sure how many it stores. I don't think it's that many, but it will store a few. So for example, we throw that in there and we tab through, we find our hoppers, we click, and click. I'm not actually all that interested in that feature, because I think shift clicking is just a little bit faster, but we can store some things in here and it'll hold its inventory, which I do like that. So we'll go ahead and just grab that out, and we have now 4 laboratory furnaces. Yeah, I won't have to replace the block behind those. It's not really visible. I guess you have to work really, really hard to see it. But you can see right here, we can, this will put additional fuel in. Like, we can store up to, like, basically 3 stacks of coal or whatever into this. So that's super handy, and we can have multi-smelting. So, for example, if we put in these right there, they're going to kind of filter through to get smelted, whatever I'm smelting, and then the output as well. So, for example, if we grab this, let's say, and let's throw that into there. If we smelt this up, and this is a little bit more efficient, so if I was to grab, a bit more wood, and we let this kind of run through, it's going to smelt a bit more than a standard furnace is. So But in addition, there's a couple slots here, like these are kind of just for storage. Okay, it's melted 10 for a single piece of coal. And the nice thing is it also works with the external heaters from immersive engineering. So if we want to power it with that, we can do so. Though at the moment I'm just going to be using coal. I don't have like any power generation at the moment, so just a standard heating for right now will be fine, I think. And we'll do that and that. So these are just a little bit better. You know, they smelt a little bit faster and then a little bit more efficient on fuel. And of course we can basically queue things up by throwing a lot of things in there, and then they'll smelt and get deposited into there. So just kind of a way to upgrade our workshop. Now the next thing that I want to do is I would like to start setting up some of this for kind of automation. Like I said, this is more of a workshop. We're going to bring things in and dump them in. But for example, limestone and stuff, we're going to be automating that before too long, because I do have a lot of plans for building with weathered limestone, as you might expect. But for now, I'd like to at least have it kind of semi-automated, a bit better than the system that we have at the moment. So what we're going to do, let me grab our lava, and let me grab our water. And once again, you can do kind of the same thing as what we did with the lava, but with fire. I cannot jump out of this. I'm going to break that down. And over here, I do have another encased fan, so we're going to grab that. And let me just kind of dismantle this, because we're going to be cleaning all of this up at this point. Now this is the lava one. Honestly, I think actually the lava one's going to stay in basically the same spot. But let's go ahead, let's break that off, and we're going to do encased chain drives, and we're just going to run these down like that. And that's how we're going to power this fan. And then, let's see, and then the lava will be setting here. And then, of course, the items will get dropped there, which we're going to handle that in just a second. But instead of having all those vertical gearboxes being ran, we'll just do the encased chain drives there. Then let's go ahead and get ourselves just some weathered limestone bricks, and we'll just run this across. I think that's what we're going to run. I may change my mind, but I think we're just going to run that across like so. Let's do a fan setting here. And we'll go ahead and put our water up here, I think. The fire, I don't know how much I'm going to be using that. We'll see. But let's go ahead. Let's pull this up. We'll bring this over. This will actually need to come over. Water funnel, chest, like that. And then we'll do our funnel setting there and our filter back onto there. Then, let's see, how are we going to do this? Probably just glass. Or better yet, let's do chisels and bits. Challenge complete. Let's see, bit bag. Okay, I'm going to have to go get some wool real quick. And also, let's go ahead and just get ourselves a chisel design as well. Then let's see, I think the bit bag can be any kind of, yeah, any bit is accepted. Perfect. Let's go ahead and just throw that down. And actually, we'll just do cobblestone. Because I'll be using exact amounts of glass, I think. So there's that. And then we'll just pull that up and trash it. And let's check our controls for chisel. The main one we're worried about is the radial menu. Let's just set that to, yeah, there we go. That way I can do it with my mouse. And we're going to say same material and just grab all of that. Now, let's set this to, whoops, let's grab the, so we'll probably make it a little bit fancier. But we're going to say plane, and we're going to grab this design. That way I can have it basically backed up right against the edge here, and then we'll just go ahead and grab that back. And we're going to say placement, and we're just going to kind of come down through here and, oops. Yeah, Chisels and Bits seems busted at the moment. As in the designs go away. That's unfortunate. Okay, well in that case, probably the easiest way to do this, since that's not working, is going to be just placing out like some cobblestone. And then having this set to plane. Ooh, that's gonna make Chisels and Bits really nasty to use at the moment. And then we'll just go ahead and place that out. And then we'll put that down. Okay. And I'm probably going to put a dropper here, so we'll go ahead and just we'll actually pull that one up. Alright. And then we're going to do the same thing over on this side. We're going to put in our glass. And we'll have a dropper on the other side of this, so we'll go ahead and just pull that up. Do that. Alright, and then as far as the droppers go, I think we'll probably just go with standard droppers. It's not going to matter too much. There is the factory dropper, though. Engineer's Decor, super useful mod. Where's my redstone? And actually, we won't be able to do the factory dropper just yet because it does require those industrial wood planks. So we'll try this with a standard dropper. We'll see how well it works, and then worst comes to worst, we can change it out. But we'll put the dropper. This one won't matter too much because it's only going to be able to drop basically in that one spot. This one could technically hit the lava, but it's actually very unlikely because this is blowing air, so it is going to be pushing that. So we'll see how things go. Now let me get. Let me grab just an analog lever, or a standard lever. We'll just go with the standard lever. Analog levers, I'll show you those though. These are the create mods levers, and basically what you can do is you can set it, and you can say analog strength 0 to 15, and you can set how much strength you want it to be emitting. Super useful. But of course, for what we're doing right now, it actually doesn't matter that much. It's a bit easier to just use these levers because we're not using a constant signal. We just need to toggle it. We're going to set up timers, though, with this. Though I would like to get the treated wood. Oh, and let me run this out. And then we're going to put that right there. Let's see. But if we were to put in this, I think I really want the other droppers, though, to be honest. You can see it throws it out right there. As long as we don't get up close to it and pick it up, because that is a concern. And then we need to make these openable. That's fine. We'll get that in just a second. We could just put crates in here. We might. We'll see. We shall see. But let's go ahead. Let's set this one up so that it can actually run real quick. And let me also... Oh, I can target that from in here. So we'll just put that right there. And then let's get ourselves just a couple shafts and a mechanical belt. And we're just going to set this up so I can kind of show you this. If you take a mechanical belt and you right click and then you run it over, it has to be vertical or perfectly diagonal to another shaft in the same direction. But if you do that, and if we were to right click, you could say that it sets up this and it's going to start this running, and it'll start, you know, kind of shooting out the air there. And if we were to take go ahead and just grab this real quick. What I was wanting to do is make just like 2 brick stairs. Though I may change this over to a crate, but even still I'm going to leave the stairs. We'll do like that. So we've got one limestone in there at the moment. If we do that, we should get a second one. Yeah, there's the second one. Perfect. And then if we throw this into the dropper, we shoot that out. Yeah, there it is right there. And it gets finished up. Okay, perfect. Alright, but the nice thing is if we were to make this dropper, this one's going to be able to do bigger stack sizes, which is what I would like to do. And then the cooldown delay, yeah, so I'd like to go ahead and push for that. It wouldn't be all that difficult, truth be told, for us to knock that out, and it would make this a whole lot, it would just make it work a whole lot better. So let's actually go ahead. We're going to switch gears, and we are going to jump into just a little bit of immersive engineering here. So if we go for the coat bricks, that's going to be clay, bricks, and sandstone, and we're going to need 9 crafts of this. And there was a few other things I had wanted to use treated wood for anyways, so going ahead and pushing for this would be well worth it, I would say. Now, once it comes to automating these, we're just going to use belts and have them drop into the fluid. It's going to be a bit nicer, and it's going to run like a lot faster. But once again, this is kind of our manual workshop, so I don't really want belts kind of bringing things over. Plus, I want things to be a little bit more compact into the wall for our workshop, and then things a little bit more spread out for our automation. So I think this would be our best bet for this. This isn't going to be our long-term solution, because ideally, if you want to drop things, just belt and let them drop off, you know. And then while that's smelting, we are going to need an engineer's hammer also for this. So we'll go ahead and grab that. We'll mix it up a little bit today. I don't know where we're going to put this. Like, I was planning on actually... originally, I had considered doing treated wood for the floors, but I'm not crazy about too much treated wood. I think it works okay for certain builds, but probably not for this one. I haven't tried it, but there is, I know with Engineer's Decor, there is some added treated wood, this old industrial wood plank that you can use. I've played around with it in the test world. It's basically just really compacted slabs. We'll take a look at it here in just a second, but I don't think it's quite what I want for this, so we'll just do, say, 18. Alright, we'll go ahead and grab our bricks. Yeah, it smells so much faster. And then let's get our coat bricks. So there's 27 of those. And for right now, we're just going to set this up somewhere. We'll have it setting here. It might actually go into the workshop since it's kind of a manual one. And we'll just kind of leave it for long term. But until I figure out exactly where I want it, we're just going to set it up here. There we go. And we'll just throw that in there. Just because I need a little bit of creosote at the moment. Or actually, let's just do coal. Get ourselves some coal coke. We'll get more creosote from doing that anyways. So, and later on we'll be covering more from Engineer's Decor. There's a lot of useful things within the mod. But for right now, I just kind of want to use the bare basics. It's actually a really powerful mod because there's like tree cutters and stuff like that in there, solar panels. Which we will be using some of these solar panels for power over here, but more so just for looks in our create area. But we will be using some of these little things just for fun. Like I said, as far as our automation stuff goes with create, I'd like to keep it pretty pure as far as handling the automation. Workshop, I'd rather have a little bit cleaner of a dropper than setting up belts. We could, of course, set a belt up and just have it run the stuff over to the liquids, but it would be a little bit messy, I think, for the workshop. And we need to get a concrete factory up and going so that we can do the rebar concrete, because I'm going to need that for building as well, and slag. Yeah. There's so many good decorative blocks, I think, that involve, you know, immersive engineering that go well with create, I think. At least the style that we're going with. Okay, so let's get that. And then let me grab our droppers. Okay, so if we were to get the... Oh yeah, I've got to make the old industrial That's fine. Let me grab this charcoal. So we ended up needing the charcoal anyways. Old industrial, there's a few of those. And these, if you want to see what they look like, they're like that. To me, they don't look so much like wood as they do a brown carpet. I'm actually not super crazy about them for building, at least for wood purposes. I think I prefer the treated wood and then the chiseled variants of that more because it looks more like wood. This is very, very straight. You can kind of make out where like the wood grain would be, but it's a little bit more noticeable in the other types of wood because this is so dark. And to me, it just kind of works better as a brown carpet or something like that, I think, for most things. So let's go ahead. Let's get our factory dropper. And I'm going to need a little bit more wood to pull off another one, but that's fine. So if we open this up, you're going to see a lot of different stuff here. For example, if we were to take our limestone, we can throw it into here. This is going to be our inventory. This right here is going to be for filtering. We can set, if we hover over any of this, we'll be able to get information on it. I'm getting like lag spikes. Yeah, I'm getting really bad lag spikes. I don't know why. Is it because of this? Okay, it seems better now. But we can hover over all of this. Right now, one thing we need to do is we need to set this to ignore. So we're not going to worry about external redstone. Trigger mode, we're going to set this to continuous. Is that one continuous? I think that's, yeah, that's going to be continuous. Right here, this is the drop delay. So 1 second to 10 seconds. This right here is the drop stack size. We're going to set this up all the way. This is going to be the angle, and this is going to be the velocity. If this thing causes a lot of lag whenever I open it, I start getting like these lag spikes here. And eventually they'll go away, but it's weird. One thing we do want to set is we want to set this to the ore setting. And that way it says drop the stack of each individual filter when green. And so then if we were to throw in our limestone, you can see it drops a half stack at a time. But it does require a half stack. So let's actually set this to a little bit lower. Let's do, actually we're going to set it to just 1 per second. I think that's reasonable. So yeah, we'll just let it drop 1 per second. That's still going to drop super fast, but it's going to keep us from having just a ton of items in the world because this should craft it out pretty quick. You can see it's making that weathered limestone. Okay, so that should be good for us. I hate messing with those now because they do cause me to get some lag spikes. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Alright, and then let's go ahead. Let's get ourselves... Oh, I didn't grab the bucket back out. And then we'll get our factory, our other factory dropper. It's going to sit right there. And we'll basically set it up the exact same. I think that's everything that we want. And so if we had some lime sand, it starts getting thrown down pretty quick. And if we give this just a second, it's going to get sent in there. Once it's created. It creates it pretty quick at the RPM that we're running. Whenever we do automate this stuff, we will probably make it a bit quicker so we don't have a lot of items piling up in the world. And the nice thing about doing the fans is you could drop one item or you could drop like stacks of items, and it's, you know, pretty much about the same amount of time because it can do multiple items at once. You know, it can process multiple items at once. So now one thing we could do real quick is make ourselves a couple crates. Let's do that. Just because these are going to look a little bit nicer. Let me get a little bit more of this wood real quick. And we'll get ourselves a couple labeled crates and just have these plugged up. Whoops. Sitting right there. And these are going to store just a little bit more stuff. And they're going to look a little bit nicer sitting there. And what's nice is we can actually set a label up on these as well. So for example... do that. We'll go ahead and drop this limestone back into there. And while I'm at it, let me go ahead and just get a couple hoppers as well. And that way I don't have to open up these factory droppers. I can avoid opening them up. Oh, and we don't actually need the redstone signal, sorry, because I've got this turned off here, the external signal combination logic, so we don't actually need that. But if we take our limestone, for example, and we throw it, into here, that's going to start dumping it, and then it's going to start washing it and turning it into our weathered limestone. And what we can do here, if we want to put a label on this, which we'll go ahead and just do limestone for this, for example. We can have a label on the front of these labeled crates. I may change it to something else, but for right now this will be fine. So we'll know that limestone's in there and weathered limestone is in there. And I could automate this so that it moves the limestone up to this hopper. I'm not going to do that because I may actually want some limestone, so I don't want it all getting sent over just yet. We will fully automate weathered limestone down the road. But for right now, take sand, throw it into the mill, throw it into here, into this dropper, and then throw it into here. It's that easy, and that way I can quickly make that for building purposes. And then, of course, we can add things to these filters as needed to expand what we can craft kind of automatically for this. So, and then let's see, let me grab a shaft. I don't need that gearbox there. Now we will still set one of these up for fire, but fire is mostly for food. Also for dried kelp, things that we'll probably just want automated and not things that will necessarily be manually crafting. I'm getting a lot of lag on here for some reason. Like a lot of lag spikes. I don't like it. But we'll go ahead and just pull that off, because direction down through here doesn't actually matter to us. So I'm just going to send that on down. And that way we've got our fans automated and looking a bit nicer and a bit cleaner. I don't think I'm going to set up fire in here. I just don't see much purpose in it for our manual stuff. I mean, I guess if I was doing the kelp, but we're going to be automating that soon, pretty soon. So that way we can make lots of mechanical belts. And honestly, as far as like a workshop goes, this is the majority of the stuff that we're going to need with Create. That is the mechanical press, the millstone, a couple fans, one doing lava, one doing water, for various, building materials and various items. Of course, these encased fans do have a lot of recipes. You can see 72 there for a variety of things. Specifically are building materials, but then also glue and things like that are done like through the bulk washing in here. So a lot of different things that we can do with that. Fire, not quite as useful once again. And then of course having a mechanical mixer as well does make things a little bit easier for us. But I think our next thing that we're going to be doing is moving into some actual automation with Create, now that we kind of have a workshop, so we can make the basic stuff that we need to build and expand. And then we'll start pushing into a bit of automation. Because I think that's, like I said, I think that's the majority of the machines that we're going to need just for crafting materials for the other stuff. So next episode, I don't know if we're going to go ahead and push into a little bit of automation with Create and start with kind of basic automation and then kind of work our way up, starting on things like trees and things. So we have wood coming in to our Create area. If we'll start with that, or what we'll be starting with, or just automating sand and things, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go, but we might do like a cobble gen and start from there. I'm not sure what our first project will be with Create, but I'll figure it out. Or we might spend an episode or two catching up on some mine colony stuff, because I have been doing some research. Of course, I spent a while building out all of this. Upload speeds have been abysmal lately, so I guess it's given me some time to build on here and then on Enigmatica. Plenty of time to do pretty big bits of building per episode. So, but next episode we'll be doing one of the two. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. I'm going to try to get some of this area cleaned up, some more wood and stuff ran and ceilings finished out between episodes. But then come next episode, we'll be jumping into something. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe. I'll see you guys then.